I am joined here today with author Edward Willett. Now, you released your newest novel, Blue Fire. So, can you just give some background into this book?
Yeah, Blue Fire, it was originally published under another title by a publisher that went out of business. So I picked it up for my own publishing company, Shadowpaw Press, and gave it a rewrite. So it's a second edition, a revised edition. And then it has a nice cover. I have a copy of it right here. There we go. Got the cover art done by an artist. I don't even know where he's from, but I was very happy with the cover art. So it's something I published through my own publishing company, but it's under my pseudonym, one of my pseudonyms, E.C. Blake, which is one that I used for a fantasy trilogy that was published by my major publisher in New York a few years ago, called The Masks of Agrima. And I'd always wanted to put out another E.C. Blake title, and this one fits so well to that I decided this was the way to do it.
What can readers expect with this book?
This is an epic young adult fantasy novel. There are three characters, each from a different group within this society of Neviana, which is the name of the kingdom that they all live in. There's the backstory is that there was a war among the gods, and only three gods survived, and they each had their own followers, and they each gave their followers a special something. And it all centers around blue fire, which is kind of a magical version of electricity. So you got the city dwellers. One kid comes from the city dwellers. He's a priest apprentice, and they live inside walls. There's the free folk who are sort of gypsy-like, and they can travel around. They have this sort of electric fence of blue fire to keep them safe. And then there's the night dwellers, who their goddess actually changed them into kind of cat-like, completely nocturnal creatures. And they tend to hunt and kill the other humans. So it's three very different groups of people who have their own reasons not to like each other. But these three kids from these three different societies have to work together to protect their kingdom when somebody starts using blue fire for nefarious purposes.
And as you mentioned, this is the second edition. So, where did the inspiration come from for this?
I actually remember this very well. I was driving to Meadow Lake to do a library presentation, probably 10 years ago, maybe not quite 10 years ago. And I was just trying to think. I do a lot of my thinking driving whenever, Saskatoon, when I was writer in residence in Saskatoon, I did a lot of thinking. And I came up with the idea, electricity, there's a famous saying in science fiction that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. I just kind of turned that around and said, electricity would seem like magic to our distant ancestors. What if it really was controllable by magic and not just by, physics? And that was kind of the start of it, this idea of electricity as a magical force.
You also host your own podcast, The World Shapers, where you talk to different authors. So, how has that been during COVID at a time where you can't go out to events?
It's been great. I mean, I'm in touch with all these people, and I'm up to about episode 77, I think. And I've interviewed some of the biggest names in the field, and everybody has been very generous. So every couple of weeks, there's a new interview, and international bestsellers and award winners and all that sort of thing. And so that's been great. That's a way to keep in touch with everybody within the field when we're not, as we say, normally I'd have been to some conventions over the last year and seen some of these people in person. That hasn't happened. But the other great thing about the World Shapers podcast is that I got a book out of it as well. I kickstarted an anthology last year of guests from the first year of the podcast. And very shortly in March, I'm going to kickstart volume 2 of, oh, look, I have a copy of that too. Volume 2 of, this was the first year's anthology, Shapers of Worlds. So it'll be Shapers of Worlds Volume 2, 24 authors, about 18 original stories and 6 reprints, it looks like. So I'm really excited about that.
If anyone is looking for more information on this second book, or they're just looking to find your current novels, where can they go?
Well, I have a very complete website at edwardwillet.com. And then my little publishing company is called Shadowpaw Press. Our cat's name is Shadowpaw, so it's named after him, and his picture's on every book. And that's at shadowpawpress.com. And you can also find me on Twitter at @ewillet and at Shadowpaw Press. And The World Shapers has its own website at theworldshapers.com. I would just hope, we're getting out more now, people are, but it's been a great opportunity to read. And I would hope that people will continue to do that. I mean, reading is a great way to expand your mind and to have adventures without ever having to set foot outside of your house.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Edward.
Thank you for having me.